Hey there, friends. David Paulides, Canine Missing Project. This is our executive producer, Huck. She's in the building. She's demanding excellence. This is Huck TV. You're on the right channel. Huck is saying, thanks for being here. With all your kittens and dogs in the room, barking, yelling, huffing, crying, Huck is loving life right now. She's in a good mood, having fun, and appreciates you being here. So, oh, that was a big yawn. Howdy there. Howdy. So, little movie update. You guys always like that. We've been hard at work, three of us. The hardest thing in movie production is getting good content. If we have good content, the rest kind of falls in line, kind of. So if you're talking about a missing person, you got to have some elements there to make the story interesting. Namely, you need a relative to talk about the case. And sometimes that's hard to find. A lot of people don't want to go on camera. A lot of people have put the case behind them, don't want to talk about it. All those facets go into trying to talk to people and get them involved. The other part is logistically getting everybody into one place. If we have, let's say, 12 different cases, we don't have the budget to go to 12 different cities in the United States, fly 5, 6, 7 people into each location, set up a film site, and film them. It just doesn't happen. It's too expensive. And so logistically getting people into one place. And then getting your videographer, sound person, director, producer, logistics coordinator, assistant, all into one place. It's a balancing act. So we identified the cases that we're going to do. We've started to get the people involved from those cases. And we're going to be leaving that first week of June of this year, and we'll be gone probably till the middle to the end of June filming. So things are happening. By the time you see this, we've probably already been filming, because I have to get these segments in line while I'm gone. Obviously, I can't film while I'm filming on the road. So I've got to line these up. So by the time we hit July and August, we're going to be in pretty good shape, I think. And it's exciting. I'm looking forward to this. I think I'm going to bring you some things that you never knew. And that's really what I try to do. Educate you guys on topics you don't maybe know a lot about. Bring in side stories to those incidents that you definitely don't know about. And in this movie, we brought in a director, big time guy. Yeah, big time guy. He has filmed some super serious TV before. Hey, what are you doing? You don't like him? He didn't even mention his name. And we've been working hand in hand for the last month and a half or so. I like him. And he understands what we're trying to do. And he saw the layout of the cases and kind of the progression of the documentary. And he said, Dave, this is a winner. So I'm excited. So that's kind of your update for now. Yeah. Now the cases I'm going to talk to you about today, they're troublesome to me. Very troublesome. And the first case involves a man 78 years old. His name is Foye Davis. This is Foye. Went missing June 22nd, 2022. And he was a preacher and he had a congregation, and he lives and breathes the Bible. He has a Burnsville, Mississippi address, but he actually lives in Jacinto, Mississippi. Married to his wife Sue for decades, has 2 daughters, Sharon and Sheila. Now, why am I talking to you about Foy? Well, yeah, he's been missing for a couple years. Fascinating man. Every day, Foy took a 5 to 8 mile hike with his dog, Buddy, a brindle box dog. Now, as I've told you, I try not to hammer home staying in shape as you get older, but I'm going to keep doing it. The key to staying healthy as you get older is staying upright and moving. Sitting down, not doing anything, will make you age progress rapidly. Trust me on this. I've talked to so many doctors and I've watched so many videos from health professionals. They will all agree that sitting down and not moving is a quick way to die. And I know everyone has their statement, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm too sick, I have this. Hey, I've heard it all. I've had it too. I had doctors tell me that I needed spinal braces in my lower back. I needed fusions in my neck. Oh yeah, I've heard it all. And I had I was the kind of person that kept digging for the best avenue of advice I could find. For my neck, I heard it when I was a policeman. I heard it pretty bad. And the first couple doctors told me, Dave, you're going to need a spinal fusion on your neck. I went to 2 guys in a row and they both said the same thing. Until I finally found a doctor that never did surgeries. All he did is consultations. So he didn't have an interest in what you did or didn't do. He just gave you the best advice. His name was Jeff Saul, and he was the chief spinal doctor for the 49ers at the time. Brilliant man. I ended up getting an appointment with him. It was probably the most interesting time I've ever had with anybody. He was fascinating. And the bottom line, he said, Dave, don't do it. Don't do it. High percentage of spinal fusions fail within 10 years. You'll have to have another one. It'll progressively get worse. You'll deteriorate. You're going to have some pain in life. Just agree with it. Just learn how to control it. Not with meds, with exercise, physical therapy. You will learn a way to get around this. And damn if he wasn't right. The doctors that said, oh, you need a fusion, you need a fusion. After I heard and listened carefully to what Saul said, I learned, forget it. I'm not doing it. And I've lived through it. In fact, I've been in physical therapy for the last 3 months because of my neck. And at the end of 3 months, I'm feeling great. And the physical therapist did a fantastic job up here in Montana. The reason I'm telling you this story is don't listen to the first or second doctors that tell you to do something. They may be doing it because they want a financial aspect in you. Or they're just not aware of other medical remedies that could be for you. Or you can be hard-headed like me and just dig around and eventually get to the cream of the crop consultant that's going to tell you the truth, which I was lucky. Now, staying upright and walking every day. I know it seems boring. For me, my solution is I got Huck. She wants to go on a hike all the time. And she loves being out there. So there's my push. She'll come over. She knows what time we normally do our hikes, and she'll come in and just sit right in front of me and stare at me. Like, Dad, let's go. So Foy did this 5 to 8 miles every day. And at 78 years old, he was in tremendous physical shape. Well, on June 22nd, Foy got into a slight argument with his wife, who he had been married to for decades. So don't tell me. I mean, everyone gets in a little argument with their spouse. That's not a big deal. And it wasn't a huge deal. She wanted him to mow the lawn. He didn't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Well, he just didn't want to confront it, didn't want to get in an argument, and just wanted to blow off some steam. Said he was going to get Buddy and go for a hike. So he gets Buddy. He takes off for his normal hike. Normal time. Well, later on in this investigation, Sharon, the daughter, stated to investigators that her dad started showing very early signs that dementia was coming his way. He was still sharp. He still put together and wrote his own Sunday sermons. He took care of himself, etc., etc., etc. So she said, I'm not worried that dementia took him over and got him lost, but just for the knowledge base. So on June 22nd at 9 a.m., Foy and Buddy take off on a hike, going the same route they always did. At 9:20, he's seen on a home camera a half mile from his house on the side of the road, hiking with Buddy, just like he normally always did. At 9:30, he's caught on a camera north on County Road 343, and that was the last confirmed sighting of him. The family said he usually walks down 343 until he gets to a series of dirt and gravel roads that were used for logging and hunting, and then he'd go down those roads. Sheriff stated that he has walked these roads hundreds of times. Now, where is this? Well, this is Marjoram, Alabama. Here's the Alabama-Mississippi border. Here's Burnsville, Mississippi. Here's Jacinto. So he lived just east of Jacinto, just a little tiny bit. This is a very rural area. Not a lot there, no big cities nearby. You kind of get the gist of it. Well, at 12:30, he should have been home. And his wife, Susan, was getting real nervous. She starts calling the daughters. Daughters say, hey, if he's not home by 2:30, 2:45, you got to call sheriff. 2:45, Sue called the sheriff. Said she needed to tell them that her husband is missing. And they responded. They first searched the house, searched the area around the house, and then they got a series of deputies to respond, and they searched the area down where Susan said he was walking on 343. Typical, exactly what you should do. And the sheriff also requested additional units to search the area of the roads where they said he was on. And then late in the day, they started already having search and rescue teams respond. The Foys have two daughters, Sharon Clemmer and Sheila Tice. Each of them live about an hour away from the parents' house. And once they heard about the disappearance and they called the sheriff, they immediately started responding. The area right around the Davis's home is very rural. Thick woods. Lots of trees, weeds. At 5 p.m., the daughters respond. Sheila and Sharon arrive at the residence. Sharon said to the press that they were overwhelmed by the response of law enforcement that soon after the report. She said they had Homeland Security trailers, search and rescue trailers, emergency vehicles, command center set up. Okay, hold your taters for a second. I got to tell you, that quickly to have that organizational structure set up, I'm impressed. They took it seriously right from the beginning. Well, early in the search, the sheriff of the county, Sheriff Caldwell, stated that they did find tracks of a New Balance shoe that Foy was wearing. And they also found Buddy's tracks next to Foy's tracks as he was hiking down a dirt gravel road. The story goes that Foy would walk down a dirt road for a while, get down to a place where he had walked far enough, and then turn around and come back to the main paved road. So there was no doubt he knew where he was going. He had done this hundreds of times. At one point, the sheriff said that he entered a real heavy timbered area, and they were unable to keep tracking him. Now, this is the question that confuses me. Okay, understand professional trackers may have lost him, but what about the canines? How did they lose him? I don't understand. The first 5 days of this search, starting on the 22nd, the sheriff said that they went 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have not heard that since a small child disappeared a few years ago. I haven't heard this from a search and rescue team. That's impressive. Going 24 hours a day, 5 days in a row, takes a lot of manpower and drains your resources a lot. The reason they were doing this, he said, is that they had a drone with thermal imaging, meaning FLIR, that they were keeping up at night. And I know that they were hoping to see an image of Foy or Buddy out there in the woods. But they didn't. Pretty hard to believe. And if they didn't, where were they? I want you to think about that hard. Now, search and rescue people will immediately just discount it. They don't want to think about it. Oh, you know, he crawled under a log, or he did this, or he did that. What about the dog? What did Buddy do? Right? After searching 5 days straight for 24 hours, sheriff said that the strategy changed. And they decided to use all their resources searching during the day, because during the day they thought they could see better. And they thought that if they haven't found anything on drones after 5 days, better go back to searching just during the day. Well, they searched for another 7 days. They didn't find anything. And they terminated the search. The sheriff said there was no place else to search. Well, in the meantime, the family had contacted other professionals and parishioners and friends and trying to keep the search going. So on July 6th, 14 days after the search started, volunteers a half mile from the Davis home come across Buddy. And they were able to get him to come up to somebody, and they grabbed him. And they thought it was odd because Buddy didn't have his collar on. Always had a collar. And in fact, the last time he was seen, Foy was walking him on a leash. That was gone too. So then the $1 million question is, where did the collar go and where did the leash go? So the sheriff did something brilliant, in my humble opinion. I've only heard this done one other time in thousands of cases. The sheriff took Buddy to a veterinarian, and they did a medical assessment of him, and they decided that they were going to give him something that emptied his stomach, because they wanted to see what was in his stomach. Had Buddy been being fed by somebody for 14 days? What was in his stomach? Did they find a bunch of plants in his stomach that were in only a certain area of the search zone? They were going to find out. Well, they got him to empty his stomach, and what they found were pine needles and some green leaves. And the sheriff said that didn't lead to anywhere, because that's a lot of the area out there. Remember, the sheriff had already given up his search. This was found by private citizens. The sheriff stated that they used FLIR drones, ATVs, ground pounders, canines, for 12 days. And the sheriff's opinion was there was no evidence of any foul play. Meaning that they believed Foy was out there somewhere. Now here's the issue with Foy. Standard protocol doesn't fit with him. A man 78 years old who hikes on average 5 to 8 miles a day. How far could he hike? Over a couple days, maybe 15 miles, right? Well, no foul play. They lost him. They didn't know where he was. Sharon Clemens spoke to the press, and she said again that her dad lived and breathed for the church and the Bible, and she knew that God was with him. Community, friends, parishioners posted a $20,000 reward for Foy. It's been 3 years and nothing has been found. This is the poster that they put out. I'll read it to you. It says Foy Davis has been missing since around 9:30 a.m. June 22nd, 2022. He was last seen walking north with his dog, a brindle boxer, on County Road 343 in Alcorn County. Davis is described as having gray hair and blue eyes. He was wearing dark blue jeans, a checkered short-sleeved shirt, and a brown New Balance tennis shoes. He was diagnosed with dementia. However, he was still at the stage he knew all of his family, and he was preaching at a small church and continued to drive. 6 foot, 230 pounds, Foy Davis. That's a tough one, folks. It's a real tough one. I don't like these cases because I do feel standard foul play, maybe not, but something is going on. I'm sorry. Let's go to the next case because it's a good follow-up to Foy. Richard Leia, 62 years old, missing September 3rd, 2018. 4 years before Foy, he disappeared at 6:30 p.m. from Grayson Lake Marina in Carter County, Kentucky. So, he's from Wheeling, West Virginia. He disappeared in Kentucky at Grayson Lake. That's the distance between the two locations. He's a retired aircraft mechanic. Now that's a special designation. You got to get licensed for that by the Federal Aviation Administration. You got to be really sharp to be an FAA mechanic. He lived 2 blocks from the Ohio River in Wheeling, West Virginia. I'll stop for a second. Now, Dave, why is that important? Trust me. Trust me. Somebody way sharper than me is going to figure this out after I pass on, maybe in 50 years. I don't know. But I've always said, I think where people live has something to do with their disappearance. I've always said that. I still believe that. I haven't been able to figure it out. But water is the key. He lived 2 blocks from the Ohio River, and he disappeared essentially next to a lake. Now, in this case, Richard was nonverbal and was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That's pretty advanced. This is Richard. Richard and his wife Leslie were visiting their son in Kentucky, and they spent the day on the water of Grayson Lake. Everyone was having a good time, no issues. Richard had been there with his wife many times. He knew the area, he knew the marina. It was like old home day. Well, at the end of the day, the son pulls the boat out of the water anyone who has a boat knows when you pull the boat out, usually dry it down, take all the gunk off the side, tie things down so they don't blow out, make sure everything's tidy in the boat. It usually takes like a half an hour. Son's doing that. And other family members are helping with the boat. And they know that Richard would normally walk around the marina, always staying in sight. And he had been to the marina so many times, nobody even questioned that he knew exactly where he was going. He would always walk what they called a triangle path. He'd walk to the bathroom, to the pavilion, around the playground, always staying in sight of the family. Now, this particular day, September 3rd, the marina was full of people. And Richard was walking his normal path. Family was watching him. He was last seen wearing blue shorts, tan t-shirt, camo hat, and he had a birthmark on his right cheek. As they're cleaning the boat, they realize everyone just all of a sudden lost sight of him. He was just walking around like he normally did, and then boom, he's gone. He started looking. Everyone drops everything, starts going over the path that he had taken. Nothing. Late in the day, the family calls the Carter County Sheriff and asks for assistance in finding their dad. Carter County calls for a search and rescue the next day. So September 4th was the first full day of a search and rescue, and there was a huge response. They had boats, canines, helicopters, divers, ATVs, and they had boats with side scan sonar. I've talked to you about this before. It's phenomenal technology. I could teach a sixth grader how to look at that screen and tell me, hey, when this comes up, you tell me. That's how easy it is. When you see a body on it, it's blatantly obvious. So each day, the search and rescue was kept spreading out further and further and further. On September 5th and 6th, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife officers and law enforcement from around the state converged to help on the search as well. Even the firefighters from the area on their day off came in to search. On September 6th, they brought in cadaver dogs to the location. And the cadaver dogs were brought in on the 6th because at that point they were thinking, chances are Richard wouldn't live that long out there. The family had stated many times before that Richard really couldn't take care of himself. So they didn't understand how he could be alive. His daughter Heather stated that searchers pulled out every conceivable technology to search. She said that to the press. Eventually, the Kentucky State Police took over the investigation as a missing persons case. I find that a little unusual. I don't know why they would volunteer to take it over. But there was a silver alert issued on Richard. Silver alert meaning somebody with compromised condition is missing. And Richard was compromised. But there's tons of questions here. Just like on Foy's case. I don't understand why canines couldn't find him. If he was deceased in the area, I damn well guarantee a cadaver dog would have found him. On September 29th, the family and friends enlisted the assistance of a group called Texas EcuSearch. I got to tell you, they're probably better than 50% of the search and rescue teams out there in the United States. And they're a private group, but they've got their act together. They have the ability to get any kind of technology from anywhere to assist them. And they have people that are experts in this technology. And they have people that are very well trained and they have canines very well trained. Well, they ended up setting up their search and rescue headquarters at the maintenance building at the Grayson Lake Marina. Perfect. That's exactly where he disappeared. Well, the resources they had, just like everyone else, is they had side scan, canines, scent, cadaver dogs, ground pounders, professional trackers. The private search by EcuSearch did not find Richard. Troublesome. Very troublesome. In many cases, I would expect Texas EcuSearch to find the person if they are there. To me, the number of people missing with Alzheimer's and early dementia are off the charts unusual. After highly trained dogs fail to follow the scent, or highly trained cadaver dogs fail to find the body, why? Time after time, highly trained dogs aren't successful with these people. Why? Are they even there? If they aren't there, where did they go? And as I've stated before, the real question in my mind, and I'm starting to think it's got to be true, is has their scent changed when they have the onset of Alzheimer's or dementia? It's not logical for dogs to fail this many times. I'm just telling you. Is there something going on here that we don't understand? Remember, one of those profile points in Missing 411 is that the victim has some kind of disease, ailment that isn't obvious. These two men, it wouldn't have been obvious if they were just standing in front of you that they had Alzheimer's or dementia. Until maybe they started to talk to you. But just standing there, I don't think you'd know. What is happening is not normal, but search and rescue groups and search and rescue organizations aren't acknowledging it. And until they start to acknowledge it, things aren't going to change. What if these victims put off a scent that is much different than a human normal scent, and that's why the dogs aren't following it? And if that is the case, then they're going to continue to fail. Now, how can you determine if that's true? Well, what you'd have to do, in my humble opinion, is train a dog from the very start by being in a rest home or an Alzheimer's home or a dementia home, and train that dog on that scent amongst those people. So that's really the scent that the dog only knows. And then after you've trained that dog, oh, trust me, there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the years to come. Because you have people coming to age now that are a good portion of the population. And the way dementia and Alzheimer's is creeping into all people's lives, it's going to be even more and more every day. So if you train that dog on that scent, and they don't know any other scent, we're going to know right away that there's an unusual aspect to tracking Alzheimer's and dementia patients. You know, some of you sent in some articles about the unusual scent associated with certain people, and I know that certain cancers can be detected by dogs in humans. This is true. And other diseases as well. So to think that there's not an unusual scent associated, I wouldn't discount it that quickly. I'd want to keep an open mind on that. I may be completely wrong, but I at least want to walk down that trail and determine if it's true or not. So, Richard, never found. Yeah. He's been missing for 6-7 years now. And that's troublesome. So you got Foy Davis, Richard, Leia. There's Richard. There's Foy and Richard. Say a little prayer for their families, because not knowing where your relative is, their health, plays mind games on people. And I have a deep compassion for each one of the families out there that have lost someone under these conditions. So I appreciate you being here. It helps having these faces in the news and in front of people. So if you'd share them on your social media, I'd greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, Huck told me today to tell you, be kind to animals. Well, to me, that's easy. Some people have a tough time with it. I don't. I'm kind to all animals. But also, be kind to people. It doesn't cost anything. The rewards will come back to you. And lastly, earlier today, I was at the Montana Vortex. I was talking to Joe and Tammy that own it. And this place it's always strange. But to me, it has a vibe to it. I like being there. It makes me feel good. And I went there, and there's certain spots there where they say it's a pipeline to the spirit world. I know other people can say, well, you can sit anywhere and talk to them, but I already know that there is one place there that is special. You ask Joe and he'll tell you. It's a place Dave always goes and sits and meditates and talks to Ben. Special place. Get out to Montana, Whitefish, Columbia Falls, you got to stop by. In the meantime, oh yeah, and all my books are at the Vortex too. You can get them. Paulides out.